Hello, everyone. How are you today? My name is Angela Johnson Sutherland, and I want to start by thanking the administrators for allowing me to speak with you today. I'm going to talk with you about tips on being an NCS. I have been an NCS officially since 2018. Now, unofficially, I have had more newborns than I care to count. I've been working in the childcare industry for a little over 40 years. That includes me babysitting at the age of 11 and on to having a home daycare when I was in college. And then when I got married and had children, I had a home daycare so that I could stay at home with my children. So newborns and twins and infant toddlers are my specialty. Now, the first thing, hi Rashida, how are you? The first thing I want to talk to you about is being a newborn care specialist right for you? If you can't stand babies, you can't stand whining and crying, you don't want to get up in the middle of the night, you love your sleep, and you don't like spit up or poop or babies that may have reflux or colicky babies, this is probably not the occupation for you. Because all of that comes with, thank you, Rashida. All of that comes with being a newborn care specialist. There will be nights when the baby has gas on his tummy and you're staying up all night patting and patting and patting and patting and patting and trying to get that burp out, because you know if you don't get that burp out, that you're not going to sleep that night and the baby's not going to sleep. So it takes patience and it's going to take some time, and it's going to dig into your sleep time. Now, I will say this, I do not take awake jobs. And when I say awake jobs, that means the parents expect you to come and stay awake all night long. Whether the baby is sleeping or not, they want you wide awake watching their baby. I don't take those kind of jobs. And I know I would never take those kind of jobs because that's not for me. I have problems sleeping during the day sometimes. I have had to train myself to sleep during the day so that I can be up and alert at night. Being alert and being awake is two different things. You have to be a light sleeper if you're going to be an NCS. You can't put those earplugs in your ears, put your mask on, and just kind of snooze. That's not an NCS. That will get you fired quicker than anything. So you have to be a light sleeper. You have to be tolerant of a lot of things that babies do. You have to be ready for that poop and that pee to fly in your face and on your hands and everywhere else. If you can't stand for your hands to get dirty and little poop get on your hands, this is not the job for you, because newborns don't know how to control it like older children do. You lift their little legs up and it comes flying at you. So I'm just saying, this may not be the job for you if you can't stand those little things. So those are the first tips. Secondly, know that you can work with willful parents. And when I say willful parents, I mean that these are brand new parents who have listened to their friends, who have listened to mom and dad, who have listened to grandma, who has listened to the Facebook group, the moms in the Facebook group who are brand new mommies too, and they know everything. And they expect you to do it according to their plan, and instead of what you know to do is right for that child. They do exist. Yes, they will hire you to take care of their children at night. They will expect you to get that baby to sleep, but they want you to do it their way. So you're going to have to be the diplomat in that party and say, well, this is, I will do it your way. Can we try this? Can we try that? Yes, and they read too many books. Stay off. And they love Dr. Google. I just love Dr. Google because Dr. Google tells you everything. But what they don't tell you is how to do it and when to do it and which method you're supposed to do at what time. So guess what? It's up to you to figure that out. So you got a long list of things. Is the baby wet? Is the baby hungry? Is the baby sleepy? Is the baby, is something going on with their tummy? Are they too hot? Are they too cold? All of these things you have to learn. And willful parents, they give you this much leeway when you need a whole lot. So you have to be willing to work with willful parents because until they get with the program, you are, I won't say stuck, but you need to do things as much their way as possible because they hired you, they're paying you to do the job that they want you to do, not the one that you know how to do. Just saying. I'm giving you all this background information because you may not learn this in training. So I'm here to tell you the background, the tips that nobody else probably would tell you. Now, first, third of all, get professional training. Remember me talking about Dr. Google? When you get professional training, you get the terminology that you need to tell parents, this is why I'm doing this. It's called this and such. And they will go and look up this and such on Google to make sure you know what you're talking about. So get the terminology. And also when you get the professional training, now, even though I've taken care of babies all of my professional career, all of my babysitting career, getting that training and getting that terminology opened up new doors for me. I know that it works because it works. But if I can't explain to my client why it works, if I can't give them a word, a phrase, or something for them to look up on Dr. Google, why are you doing this? They will continue to question you. We know it works because we've done it on many babies before. And it works. But when you get that terminology and you're able to give them something that, should I say, pacifies them, then they're on the same page with you. Oh, okay, she knows what she's talking about. Okay, let's go. Let's do this. I think I will follow her directions now. So, get the training. Now, I have several, I shouldn't say several. The training that I took was through Newborn Care Solutions, and I took it in a live class. And because I know I'm a hands-on type person, if you are able to do it online and stay focused and watch the videos, then that's fine, that's great. But I'm not like that. I need to be there and put my hands on it, lay eyes on it, be able to ask questions, be able to see the expressions, clearly see what's going on around me, my classmates, what their expressions are, what they're doing, their contributions to what's going on. That's just me. If you're able to do that, perfect. Okay, what training do you recommend? I recommend, first of all, if you don't get any other training, get the newborn care training. That way you know what you're talking about. It goes through all these different, let me get my notes. Okay, so you get the terminology, and then you learn the signs for postpartum. This all comes with your NCS training. If you take it through the same place that I did, I can only tell you, testify to the training that I did. I took it through Newborn Care Solutions, and I learned the terminology that needed to be said to for the parents to get on board with me. I also learned the signs for postpartum. Now, mind you, you are not a postpartum doula. You learn the signs, and when you see the signs, you tell somebody. If you have a network, you call your friend who is a postpartum doula. Have them to hook up with your client. Do not try to diagnose. Please do not try to diagnose anything because we are not doctors. Okay, Faith, the training is located online. And if you look on the website of newborncaresolutions.com, they have live trainings all over the country. They were just in Austin, where I live. When was it? The 21st, 22nd, 23rd of February. So they were just there less than a month ago. And she's been to DC. She's been out to California. She travels with her classes. But if you need something immediately, there is a live class that is recorded online. I was a part of that live class. I got lucky. Who knew? Yes, Kalia. Occasionally they do it in person. Yeah, they have one for New York City, but I'm not sure if they're going to do it in New York City, considering the coronavirus. So I would suggest that you look into it online. Also, while you're looking on Newborn Care Solutions, they are starting to give free classes. I'm not sure what those free classes are, and I'm sure they probably will not be as in-depth as the ones that you pay for. But if you can find those free classes and attend those free classes, it will help you a lot. I promise you. Even if you don't get the certificate, having the knowledge so you can sound professional, so that you can present yourself as a professional is so, so, so important. Because if you don't present yourself and you don't sound like you know what you're talking about, then they're like, maybe not so much. I don't think we need her. I don't think she knows what she's doing. And you could be the best NCS in the world, but if you don't have that terminology and you don't have that know-how and you don't know how to present yourself, then that's going to be a problem because you are your own HR department. You are your own customer service department. It's just you. So you have to know how to present yourself. Have to know how to answer those difficult questions diplomatically, even though you want to tell them the truth. You have to know how to weave and bob that question so that they will understand it, that they will be on board with you, and so that they will feel comfortable with you being in their home. You also have to have a sense of discernment. Every job is not for you. Just because the money looks good, money is not everything. They do what they call, some families do what they call a job creep. They hire you for one thing, and then, can you please do this? I gotta go run and do this. I need to go to the bathroom. Can you do this right quick for me? And then it becomes a everyday, this is your assigned task, aside from what I hired you from. So, just be aware of that. Hi, Gemma. How are you? Okay, so my next thing is you learn about in the newborn care specialist training. You learn about lip ties and tongue ties. I've only experienced a lip tie and a tongue tie 3 times, and each time I've asked the parents. Mind you, we are not doctors. We are not nurses. We cannot call ourselves a night nurse. That misconception, you can't do that anymore. You used to be able to do that, but you are either a newborn care specialist, a night nanny, or you just helping overnight. Because calling yourself a night nurse will get you in trouble. Unless you have a licensed piece of paper and you have gone to nursing school, you are not a nurse. You are not a night nurse. You're not a day nurse. You're not a round-the-clock nurse, any kind of nurse. You are a newborn care specialist or you are a night nanny. Those are your... Yes, I have experienced cleft palate, but it wasn't in a newborn. I keep saying your name wrong. It was not in a newborn. The child came to me in my home daycare, and he had Down syndrome, and he was 9 months old. And he did have surgery to fix it, and it looked so much better. But he was not a newborn. Now, other training that you might consider, other than besides the newborn care specialist training, is becoming a lactation educator. When you go in, oh, people call you Kay. Okay, Kay. When you go in to a newborn care specialist job, you either bottle feeding, you're breastfeeding, a little bit of both. But as a lactation educator, you can help mom and explain to her how breastfeeding works. You can explain to her the importance of breastfeeding. I said explain to her, not pressure her. There are two different things. I know we say breast is best, but in my book, fed is best. If mom can't latch on and that baby cannot, if he has a tongue tie or a lip tie and they can't latch on to mom, or it's hurting mom and mom is stressed out, because when mom gets stressed out, her milk does not produce well and baby is hungry. So fed is best. Please do not, please do not bug mom about breastfeeding and try to persuade her to breastfeed, even though she's telling you, I don't want to breastfeed anymore. As a lactation educator, you can ask questions as to, what she wants to do, how she feels about breastfeeding, has she heard about breastfeeding, and what does she feel if she is nervous about it, why does she feel nervous about it? There are things that you can ask and get a feel of, is she just nervous about breastfeeding, or she actually does not want to breastfeed? Now, if she's having problems latching and she's having, if she has inverted nipples or anything like that, you need to call a IBCLC, who is board licensed breastfeeding. Lactation. She can tell the parent, the mom, about the latching. She can tell her about what to do. Anything medical, anything other than educating, you cannot do. But it is handy to have lactation educators, all this information that you can share with the mom, so that she can make a well-rounded decision about whether or not she wants to breastfeed. And having that extra part onto your resume gets you more clients because you become more valuable. I would suggest taking a postpartum class. The more you know about postpartum, the more you're able to help the mom and the baby, because the postpartum doula takes care of mom and baby. They also tend to make more money than just a regular NCS. So that adds to your repertoire. When you have a combination of things that you're adding to your resume, you become more valuable. You become worth more to families, and they will seek you out because you have not just a newborn care specialist, you have all these other trainings behind you. Become a new parent educator. A lot of newborns, parents don't know. New parents, they don't know what they want. They don't know what parenting style they want. They go into parenting thinking, oh, I'm going to be this kind of parent, I'm going to be that kind of parent, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and they have no clue. Once the baby is here, everything, all bets are off. All bets are off because they have no clue what they want. I suggest for postpartum doula training, Kappa has some good courses. If you find a Kappa or a Kappa trainer, I know several Kappa trainers that travel and do classes. As a matter of fact, one Delighted to Doula, she is on Facebook Live. She's on Facebook. She has a Facebook page. Her name is Priscilla Moore. She is, her company is called Delighted to Doula. I took 2 classes from her. So, CAPPA. If you look it up online, it's, I'm sorry, I was reading a post. Yes, Kalia is www.cappa.com. Now, yes, Priscilla Moore of Delighted to Doula. She is very good. She is very hands-on. She makes you laugh. You get involved, and you remember more when you laugh and you're involved in it. I'm a hands-on learner. I learn from being hands-on. I learn from doing and practicing. So you will be doing some things and practicing. It's very hands-on. Yes, that's it, Kalia. www.kappa.com. Okay, now, my next thing is when you go to your interview, dress appropriately. I have scrubs. As a nanny, we wear leggings, we wear t-shirts. That's fine for the nanny. But newborn care specialists, if you're going to make more money, then you're going to have to come out looking more professional, a little bit more put together. So, I suggest scrubs. I also have embroidered polo shirts when I go to my interview. I wear scrubs at night because they're easy to put. It's got pockets. When you're working with babies, you have a pacifier in your pocket. You have a burp cloth in your pocket, carrying a the baby. Scrubs have so many pockets in them that you can carry all the essentials that you need for that baby up and down the hallways, wherever you need to go in that house. So, I suggest scrubs because it's much easier. You got a pocket for your phone too, because most families are using apps now, the baby apps, instead of written. You can type out messages and type out reports into the apps. So look professional when you go to the interview. Wear scrubs at night. They're easy to sleep in. They're just like, it depends on the material that you get, the kind that you get. They're kind of like pajamas, just more professional type of clothing. So I do scrubs. Yes, I was getting to that. Okay, I was getting to that. I don't do heavy perfume. I don't do heavy lotions, the perfumey lotions. And I don't do makeup or lipstick. I have on some today, but I don't do lipstick. When you have that baby here, you don't know what that baby is allergic to. And if you're rubbing lotion and all that and putting your lip gloss on and got your face all made up, you're going to get makeup all over that baby. And he could have an allergic reaction. You're going to get lipstick because you turn like this and the baby's head is wobbling and all of a sudden his head bonks your lips and you got lipstick all across the baby's front and you don't know the lipstick is across his face until mommy starts screaming the next morning because there's a big red splotch across his face. Yeah, I've seen it happen. So, no makeup. very low maintenance at night. I usually take a pair of thick socks to go over the socks that I have, especially in the wintertime, because my feet get cold easily. I take my shoes off because one thing, out of respect for someone else's home. Another thing, out to keep the house clean. And you're walking around at night in shoes, you make more noise in shoes than you do in socks. So you're keeping the house, if you're a heavy walker like I am, uh, then you make more noise in the night. And your purpose for being there is so mom and dad can go to sleep. Not for you to keep them up all night walking, because that baby will have you up walking the floor when they can't go to sleep, and you got to pat and rock and shake and do all the... No long nails with polish. Now, I say no long nails. I do wear polish on my nails, but this is like dipping gel. I don't wear regular fingernail polish where I polish them at home because it peels off. This does not peel off. And this is how I keep my nails. They're very short. I have just, if you can tell from the backs, I have just a little bit of nail on there. Just a little bit. But I don't need it long where if I'm trying to scoop that baby up, my nails curve around and hit them right there in the face. And there I got my 4 little marks, my fingernail marks in that child's face. No parent wants to see that. They're not looking for you to be, I like thick socks with grips on them too, on the bottom. Except for when you get that one house that has that wooden floor and those grips go in the middle of the night. So I found me some more. I have 2 pair. It just depends. Some of them have the rubber grips on them and some of them don't. It depends on if I'm walking on carpet or if I'm walking on the floor, the wooden floor or tile. And because sometimes it's kind of like when you get the bottom of your sneakers wet and you walk in and you hear that squeaky noise. Yeah. So sometimes my socks, depending on the texture of the floor, they make noise with the ones with the grips on them. Okay. Next, contract. Always have a contract. Always, always, always have a contract. Now, have your contract laid out, and don't be such a stickler that you cannot give a little, because you might miss out on a great job. If you're not willing to give and take, now I'm not saying give completely and they're not giving back to you. Compromise is what I'm saying. Be willing to compromise. I always tell my clients the contract is not written in stone. If there's something in the contract that does not apply to us, it will stay in the contract just in case. But if it doesn't apply to us at the moment, we'll put NA until needed, which means not applicable until needed. So babies shift, babies change over time. It depends on how long you are with that contract. When that baby changes, when you first get there, that line in your contract may not apply to you and the parent. But as that baby grows, that line in the contract it may change and you may need that. So don't take it out of your contract. Just agree to initial NA until needed. And then when it's needed, go back, revisit, and re-sign it again. Initial it again and date it. So they'll know this contract, this line in this contract is now applicable, and we are using this line in the contract. And it started on this day. That way you cover yourself, they cover themselves. Always have a contract. Never, ever, 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 ever go without a contract. Now, many NCSs do things differently. Postpartum doulas get a retainer. If they're postpartum doula NCS, they may get ask for a retainer. I ask for a deposit. Some people ask for 50% down. Some ask for 25% down. Whatever the realm of your contract, say it's from January to March, and you're working 6 weeks. Now, the way I do it, I don't count the weeks. I count the days worked. Because if you're going from January 12th to May the 12th, they say, oh, that's 12 weeks. That's 3 months. And you're missing out on money. And I'll tell you why. Because January has 31 days. March has 31 days. That's 2 days that probably you're not counting. Just depends on where it falls. And if you count the days instead of the weeks, you say, okay, well, I'm going to make this much per week, and I got 12 weeks. Well, from January the 12th to May the 12th, maybe there's a half week in there. That's 3 or 4 days in that half week. That last week that you're working, that half week, you're going to miss out on it. Say you're making $200 a night, and there's 3 nights. You're missing out on $600 if you count it by the weeks. Count it by the days that you are actually working. I'm working a contract now where I am off on Easter, but I work normally Sunday through Friday, but I'm off on Easter. And if I work on Easter, if I work on Christmas, if I work on Thanksgiving, if I work on Memorial Day, if I work on July the 4th, Independence Day, I always charge a time and a half because those are holidays. Now, I do have 6 specific holidays that I am off. And if I work on those holidays, if you ask me to work on those holidays, then I am going to charge you a time and a half because you are taking my time away from my family, time that I could be spending home, snoozing, even if I'm not with my family. Whatever I do on my time is my time. So make sure you have that in your contract. Make sure you have that I will be off on these days, and ask them. And from January the 12th to March the 12th or May the 12th or whatever your contract is, count the days that you are actually working instead of the weeks, because you may be missing some money. And the last thing you want to do is leave $600 on the table. That's a car note. That's somebody's rent. That's groceries for a month and a half if it's just you. And it depends on where you live. It might not even last a whole month and a half, but it's still $600. That's a lot of money that you're leaving on the table. So make sure you do that. Also, request a bed. Tell them that you will be resting when the baby is resting, and request a bed. I say that because if you are sitting in a recliner, in a chair with an ottoman, the chair bottom may end here. The ottoman may be here. So your legs are tilted down like this. And when your legs are tilted down, your fluid runs to your ankles. That builds up fluid in your ankles. That leads to high blood pressure. That leads to heart disease. That means you are killing yourself slowly. And if you are working 6 to 7 nights a week and your feet are like this, by the end of that 3-month period, you're going to have tree trunks for ankles. Tree trunks. Trust me, been there, done that, won't do it again. You will have tree trunks. You will feel heart palpitations. Things that you have never felt before. You will start feeling them like, what is wrong with me? I know I'm healthy. I know I do this. I know I do it. If you are sitting up in a chair 8 to 12 hours a night, that's half of your day, or at least a third of your day. Between a third and a half, and then you're sitting in a chair, you can't get comfortable, you're twisting like this, you're twisting like that, your lower back. It will kill your lower back. So if you are laying reclined, if you are laying down, you have a chance for everything to be level, which means that you are not building up fluid in your ankles. You're not causing your body to go into a sort of a shock from your feet being twisted down like this. You are not what is it called? When the circus, the people who torque their bodies all, that's not you. You don't, what is it, extortionist? What is it called? Uh, I can't think of the word, but your body is not meant to do that 7 nights a week. You won't last 7 nights a week. You won't last 6 nights a week, especially for 12 hours. Just saying. Now, always ask for a bed. If they don't have a bed for you, I went and got a mattress from where was it? Amazon. It's about this thick, and I got one of those cots, those army cots. Put the mattress on top, put my special pillow on top, and I lay down. I find a spot in the house, get the monitor, and I lay down. It's not like I'm getting undressed in front of anybody. I have on my scrubs. I'm always dressed. I take my own pillow. I take my own blanket. I will leave my mattress roll there, and I will leave my cot there until my assignment is done. I need a bed. And if they cannot provide me with a bed, then I will bring my own. If you want me to do this job, then you need to have some allowances for me to lay down. Because I am not going to deliberately kill myself taking care of your baby. And we do that as nannies and as NCSs. If I'm just filling in for someone, I can do that maybe once or twice because I'm just filling in. But if this is my permanent job, you don't want to do that. Let me do a time check. Okay, I'm just making sure how much time do I have, Kay? Okay, next, know your worth. Know your worth. Don't lowball yourself. Know your experience, but don't lowball yourself. If you are just starting out and you don't have a lot of experience, get with a network. I work with a network of about 20 to 25 women. And we have a messenger group. And when somebody can't take a job or they need a substitute, we always say, who can work? I need somebody to work Wednesday night, the 28th for me. Is anybody available? Please send me your information. They get the information, they pass it on to mom. I'm in a group now where I'm working with, there's 3 of us working with one family. And when I went for the interview, mom asked me, do you know of anybody who can work during the day? And I gave her 2 or 3 names. I went to my group. I posted, is anybody interested in working a couple of hours, during the day at this and this such time? This is the time frame that I'll be working there. And they were looking for someone to help them during the day. Whoever is not busy, they send their information back to me. I pass it on to mom and dad. Mom and dad ask me, so who do you think is best for us? And I give them my recommendation. And I tell them, this person is more like me. Their temperament, the way we do things, we're all on the same page. We work well together. We have worked well together in the past. And so more than likely, that's the person that mom and dad are going to call. The first week the baby was here, I ended up, I worked Sunday through Thursday. And they were going to do Friday and Saturday by themselves. Well, after Friday night, they were like, okay, do you know somebody who can work the weekends, Friday and Saturday? So I found someone else for Friday night. I did Friday night and I found someone for Saturday night. And again, I went to my group. And she has the same temperament that me and this other lady do. We're all on the same page. We all in the same group. We all Message each other. How did the day go? How did the night go? What do I need to know for the weekend? What do I need to know for the daytime? We work together as a network. When you get together in a network and you work together, more than likely, if you don't have an assignment and somebody else does, and they know you don't have an assignment, they'll call you first. Say, I need a night off. Can you cover me? That's money that you hadn't even anticipated on that's coming in your pocket. They trust their NCS. Families trust their NCS. If you say, I need a night off and I have someone to cover me, here's her number. If you want to talk to her, more than likely they're going to say, well, just let me talk to her and okay, we'll see, how it goes. And you move right on into that job and you move right on back out. One thing you don't want to do is go in and badmouth the person who got you that job and try to take over their job. That's not cool at all. And trust me, it will get around if that's what you tried to do, and nobody will recommend you for anything. Be respectful of the women that you're working with, and be respectful that that is their job. So don't try to take their job from them. Don't badmouth them to the parents and say, well, she's doing this and she's doing that. And did you know she did this? And did you know she did that? Don't do that. That's very disrespectful to yourself. It's very disrespectful to the NCS who trusted you. That's the big word, trust. She trusted you. So if you're in a network, nobody will want to. Nope. They will go behind your back and they'll say, okay, don't trust this person, don't trust that person, because this is what she tried to do to me. And you'll be blackballed and you won't even know it. Just saying. Now, in December and January, the Coronials will be here. And I say Coronials because that's what we're naming them. Not the Millenniums. They're the Coronials. Be ready. There's going to be plenty of business. After the hurricane came in Houston, there was plenty of business. Now that this pandemic is all over, people are at home together, there's going to be some babies coming. So if you want to be an NCS, I suggest you start now. If you have some experience, get letters of reference right now from the parents that you've worked with, because you're going to need that. Get your resume together. And when I say get your resume together, modernize your resume. If you need someone to modernize your resume, I have someone who does resume writing. I have 2 people who do resume writing. So if you need to get your resume together, let me know. Now, before you go for the interview, try to have a phone conversation. Sometimes you can tell by just keywords when you're talking to someone on the phone. When you're talking to mom boss and dad boss on the phone, you can tell this is not the family for me. Talk on the phone first. It will save you time. It will save you money, because you travel. I know I travel 25 miles one way to go to work, but it's worth it to me. And be willing to, because more than likely, some of the families that you're going to work for are not in your inner circle. They're not in your neighborhood. They're going to be on the outskirts of where you live. So you're going to be willing to travel. Now, join Facebook groups. I can't tell you how valuable those are. Even before you decide that you want to be, this is the permanent thing for you, join Facebook groups, because you will find out about baby conditions. You will find out about little diseases or different issues that babies have that are common. Some uncommon, some are common. And because the NCSs that have had that experience, they will talk about it. They will answer your questions. So if you encounter someone that has that problem, you're already knowledgeable about it. And it helps when you are knowledgeable. I cannot say that word today. Knowledgeable about that particular area, because if you already know, mom and dad will hire you knowing that, oh, she knows something about this. She knows what she's talking about. This is the person that we want because we don't want to have to train somebody. But if you go and you talk to the NCS and they tell you, okay, so we did this and we tried this and we tried this and this, we tried that, at least you have an idea as to how to ask mom and dad. I didn't say go in and try it yourself. I said you have an idea of what to talk to mom and dad about and ask them about, because the ultimate decision is theirs and you are not a doctor and you cannot diagnose anything. You having knowledge of something and you being a doctor to diagnose something is two different things. But know what you know, and talk to the NCS and find out. We talk about favorite swaddling blanket, favorite nipples, favorite bottles, where because sometimes babies don't take to the Dr. Brown's bottles or the Advent bottles or the regular bottles. There's so many different bottles out there, so many different swaddles out there, so many different sleep sacks out there. Ask. They will tell you. You will learn so much just by being and participating in the group, reading the posts, finding out what's going on from coast to coast. You learn so much in the groups. Just like this group. I know you all have people coming over and talking all the time. Learn from your groups. Talk. If someone's asking a question and you know an answer the question. Now, don't shame them because they don't know the answer to that question. They wouldn't have asked if they had known the answer. Or they may be just looking for a different way to do it. And they have reached their wits' end because this baby is not responding. How did you do this? How did you get your baby to do this? Well, I do this. Another person, well, I do that. And yeah, I agree with the first person who said, but I add this to it. So they give you different scenarios and different things to try with your baby that may work and may not work. But at least you're not at your wits' end and saying, well, I just can't, I feel defeated. Listen and respond and participate and ask questions. You will find that so much more from NCSs who have been doing this for a while. And they will give you the terminology and the technology and the articles and where it's written and who to go buy it from and all this stuff. So you have pretty much don't have to do any research. It's all given to you. But be thankful for it too. Just saying. Okay, now parenting styles. And I'm going to stop right there on parenting styles because I think I only had an hour. Most parents have a parenting style, especially those who already have children. They know how they want their children raised. Talk to the parents at the interview about their parenting style. If it does not match your parenting style, or they're doing things that make you cringe, and you just know that you're not going to be able to work there, don't waste their time and say, well, I'll think about it, and I'll get back to you. And they're dependent upon you, and you string them along. Don't string parents along. They could have somebody else that is on the same page with them. If you know that job is not for you and they offer you the job, just tell them, I'm still interviewing, or I've decided to go with another family, or our parenting styles are not the same. If you don't want to hurt their feelings, just tell them, I've already accepted another offer. But don't string them along. Don't make them, give them false hope, because mom is already pregnant and she's anxious and she's, about ready to pop, and hormones are just flying left and right, and dad's trying to hold it together because mom's losing it. That adds stress to the family, and that's something that you don't want to do. Please don't add stress to them. So ask about their parenting styles. Most most new parents don't know what they want, and they'll say one thing up front. The baby gets here and it turns into something totally different because they didn't know that the baby was going to have this, or they didn't know that the baby was going to scream all night, or they didn't know that the baby was going to be colicky. Sometimes they're living in a fantasy world that my baby is going to be the perfect baby, and every mom wants their child to be the perfect baby. And in reality, it's not the perfect baby. Babies cry, babies poop, babies get gas, babies, spit up. Babies don't always, sleep when you want them to sleep. They are awake, or, whatever the case may be. You may not know baby's tummy is hurting and she can't figure out what's wrong with her baby because she's a new mommy and she doesn't have the list that you have of things to go down and say, well, did you try burping him? He might have gas on his tummy. Mommy might not have thought about that. So think about these things while you're at the interview. Think about these things before you take the job and say, well, this is the job for me, or this isn't the job for me. You have to know the parenting styles and have to know if this is something that you can deal with. And I think my last statement is, at the end of the day, it's their child. It's their rules. Even though this child will sleep a whole lot better if you did it this way or you did it that way, until mom and dad come to that realization on their own, it's their child. And at the end of the day, instead of you getting mad and angry and fussing and being upset that you're not able to do your job, it's still their child. And on that note, I'm done, ladies and gentlemen, if there are any gentlemen in here. Thank you, Kay and Sally, for inviting me. And I hope that I have given you some behind-the-scenes tips of being an NCS, what it's like on the backside, on the dark side. That's what we call it, the dark side. So I hope that I have given you some tips that will helpful and that will make you think and basically try to help you to decide if this is what you want to do for a living. And without further ado, I also just want to share with you all, I am getting ready to do a webinar on Facebook Live with Dr. Tanya McDonald at 4 o'clock, or it's 5 o'clock you all's time. It depends on where you're from. If Eastern time is 5 o'clock, Central time is 4 o'clock. I'm going to do a Ask the Pediatrician. She has been on Ask the Nanny before. And if you all want to join me, I will be on my own personal page, Angela Johnson. So if you want to come and ask the pediatrician some questions, we're going to be talking about taking care of kids during the pandemic and see what we need to know about keeping our children safe, things that we need to, because we know kids are ready to run and get all their energy out, but we need to follow safety rules first and keep them safe. So if you want to join me and ask the pediatrician some questions about what's going on in the world today with this pandemic and keeping your children safe, then join me on my page in about 30 minutes, and I will talk to you later. Thank you again for letting me, what I feel like, ramble on, and I appreciate you having me. Thank you, Sally, and hopefully I'll see you all again soon.